Namaste, Jai Bharat. When the British were ruling Bharat at that time as colonial looters, they also sent their officers with a different purpose of evangelization. One name that comes to my mind is Colonel John Munro, who was a resident of Travancore, who wanted to convert and did convert a lot of people. Wherever they find weak people, both economically and intellectually. None of these missionaries will go to the educated Hindus. They go to uh, the Hindus who were not very lettered, who are otherwise normally poor. So they give milk powder and some kind of food items and and obtain their trust in their highest innocence and then tell them that this is the right God, yours is the wrong God, and then convert. So John Munro is the first name that comes to my mind, who was then resident of Travancore, a very traditional kingdom in the southern part of Bharat. And there is also an island uh, in somewhere in the central part of Kerala, erstwhile Travancore, which is even named today as Munro Island. That's named after this person, John Munro, who was an evangelist. He was a British resident, obviously, but then was an evangelist. He kept converting people. And as I understand, there was one time when the entire island was only Christians with churches. That happened as happened. Those people living there today, or even at that time, are basically innocent. And their innocence was taken for a ride for this people's selfish motive, which the whole process of conversion initiated by Macaulay, that's a long story. It's a very lengthy story why and how Macaulay devised this program of English education and printing of Christian evangelistic literature in English and then spreading it among the neo English educated people and exploiting them and rather indirectly compelling them to become Christians. And when they started schools, they also started a chapel along with the schools. It was a chapel school combination which they started wherever they went for education. So these things were there. And that time it was the British, this time the Americans still think that religion is one instrument. These Americans are religious in the sense, something very close to the medieval kind of people. Many of these evangelists and missionaries have that do carry the medieval uh, zeal of so-called missionary zeal, the medieval kind of thinking they do carry. There was an incident very recently in Mumbai of arresting a gentleman whose name is uh, James Watson. James Watson pretends to be a pastor, and when he goes around to people, and then in such a gathering, he was speaking ill about the other religions. So this, of course, is absolutely unacceptable. You suppose you go and spread your religion, actually the gospel, which literally means good spell, the birth of Christ and all those things, because they believe birth of Christ is a birth of a redeemer who will redeem the mankind from the cardinal sin, and that's such theological stories. So they gather and say that no, normally what they're supposed to do is that they speak about the good things of their religion. What they have a lot of things to speak of, the love and this one unconditional love. It's supposed to be, but you hardly find unconditional love because this world is are the most exploiters as on today. Those who claim to be autochthons of Christianity are practically seen as seriously exploiters and violators of whatever human rights that we understand. They have a different understanding of human rights, if I understand it well, because it's a very selective kind of human rights they maintain. So this person, James Watson, was arrested at the complaint of somebody because he was making remarks which are unacceptable. Remarks about the Hindu religion and deities, which of course became unacceptable to quite a few people. This is a new path, changed path. And our people are not that illiterate and ignorant. They are even, they understand even the Hindu Dharma. Previously, Hindu Dharma nobody understands, even today. I've seen in many gatherings where the Hindus do not know, especially about the deeper philosophy. So they are blinded by the kind of bombarding stories which others present. And if one person is sufficient who would stand up, everyone can't become Vivekananda, but then somebody can understand Vivekananda and speak in those terms. So this we see that one person is sufficient. Entire story gets washed off by now because they can't stand in front of the sturdy understanding of everything what you find in the Vedas and Upanishads. That's a deeper thing. So this person was arrested as a pastor who made such unacceptable remarks about Hindu Dharma and deities, of course. They don't understand the difference between deities and ultimate reality. They can't understand, as they can't understand the difference between salvation and moksha, heaven and swarga. This they don't know. So in their utter ignorance and in their absolute machinery zeal, they speak all those things. But when they speak these things to someone who knows it, they will get it back. So this person was not that high, kind of highly lettered into Hindu Dharma. So he approached the police, and the police went and questioned him and arrested him for forcing or enticing others into their religion, at the same time using unacceptable expressions about a dharma of the land, that's Hindu dharma. But then when they investigated, they find this person is not a common person. He's a tall, hefty man. Then they find out that he's a major of the U.S. Army, a major of U.S. Army. It's not a joke. An army officer. Then of course people thought that he must have been retired, and after retiring, like Colonel John Monroe, he became a resident of Travancore and took to missionary activities, which of course is not a rare thing. So he must have taken into evangelization, in going into far from places and living in hard conditions, etc. They thought this, but then the truth comes out that he is not a retired. He's still a major in the U.S. Army, serving army officer. Now, few Christians, those who have ever served the defense, I had my time in the Bharatiya Vice and Indian Air Force, so I know what defense is, at least personally from this class. You can't get such long leave other than official assignments. Suppose I was sent to Pakistan for a special assignment. That area is blacked from my service because I go as a with a definite mission. For whatever period is also uncertain. And after accomplishing the mission, getting back to your home is your own task. You may have some people who could approach for some kind of assistance. With all those things, nothing is said. So I married only after coming out of my assignment with the Indian Air Force. So I'm just giving an example. So that is officially sending, where of course time is not a factor. I know a young pilot. I wouldn't dare tell his name because such a senior officer, such a terribly powerful man. You know about Ajit Dawal, but this man is still much stronger. I would only say that he's from Puri of Punjab, near Amritsar. I wouldn't say anything more. When I first met him, he came back after his mission in Pakistan for something more than 20 years. And just imagine, he just sacrificed the prime of his youth for the nation by functioning there as selling clothes on carrying it on his head in different places with a special purpose. A flying pilot at that age goes to this and undergoes all kinds of sufferings. For what? For his nation, his love and dedication for this nation. They are unsung heroes. I know him personally. So this, I always felt like touching his feet, but then could not be done in uniform. Could have done today, but those days, people have very, very British kind of discipline they followed, so not quite possible. Then he came back as, I think, Air Commodore. So many years he spent, and most likely, if I'm right, married after reaching home. So such people are there. So that is one time. That's one time where people. So this is missionaries. He is identified as a missionary, army serving army major. That's a point. When you when you're sent from your army or any other navy or air force, then it is official for a long period. Otherwise, you just can't become absent without leave. AWO. That's quite not possible. You'll be court-martialed for such offences. You can't leave. You can't leave as you feel like. You can't say that tomorrow, unless I'm Godsman, I'm going to spread the gospel and going to Bharat. That's quite not possible without the official permission of his nation, that is the US, and that is an assignment given to him. That's very obvious. A soldier understands what an assignment is, and his assignment was to go and evangelize and then convert people. That's one instance. He was arrested. Other things was my government will take care of things. A lot of stories happen, and I don't like to go and speak of the stories, and I don't like to make speculations. That's one case. Then another case is one that of a what's his name? Terence Jackson. Terence Jackson, officially from the U.S. Army, if I'm not wrong, he was found dead in a hotel in Bangladesh, and there was no record of his arrival in Bangladesh and checking into the hotel in Bangladesh and nothing. And the moment the news went to the embassy, they sealed the hotel and they said nobody should go inside. No one is allowed to go into their rooms, and then they carried his body back to US, I suppose. So why this kind of evangelization is still supported by US in places where they think that our unity depends on our religion, because they don't understand. They don't understand the epistemology of coexistence, the Veda-Upanishadic epistemology of coexistence, and without knowing that they're trying to create differences and rifts in the society of Bharat in various manners. This is one such manner. And this is 2025, and almost 2025 is coming to an end. You will be soon entering into 2026 at this time, this part of the year. This kind of advancement in all kinds of fields, and this kind of the world becoming a global village. That is a distant dream in the past. World turning into a global village. This kind of nasty things of creating differences among people just to think that they can dominate them, or just to feel that they can dominate them, and they will keep trying to dominate. And this domination would take place, but certainly for a short time, not on a permanent long-term basis. Kshanikavada, as given in the Upanishads and subsequently taken up by Buddhist scholars, Kshanikavada, momentariness theory. Everything what you see is momentary. We know it much better than you. And this kind of attitude, sending people. This is very interesting, and this is unacceptable to any sensible, civilized world. Let's at least expect the white so-called European world to be at least civilized. Civilization, at least in your case, should mean refinement. And this kind of attitude, behavior, funding, operations, and activities are unrefined. So we understand Naraka, which is not hell. Hell is translated as Naraka in. Naraka is translated in English as hell for want of another term. But definitely, Naraka is not hell. But Naraka is akin to hell because Naraka is a place where there is lawlessness, dishonesty, no question of transparency, where might is right, and bullying is quite possible. Bullying is what they do normally, and involving in sensuousness. And if these things at this rate, if things happen in such world, the so-called American, European, Western world, not the entire, but whosoever is practically and actively involved in it, then that is real Naraka of today. That's real Naraka of today. And you look for hell elsewhere, don't. This is the place. I don't want like to speak all those things, but then this kind of happenings around us, it comes visible, and then you get disturbed, if not offended. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.